Good afternoon, guys. Yeah, 98 followers. I'm excited. I'm so close to 100. It's so weird because I still feel like I'm a loser, but you know. Anyways, we're streaming a little late today because I went out shopping in the morning and I had a doctor's appointment, so I pushed it back a little bit. Um, I'm just waiting for the notification to get posted to the chat in my server, but it for some reason decided it doesn't want to today. It's just not doing it. So let me give it a second before I Jesse winner. I guess I'm just gonna post it myself. Oh, and then the second I say I'm gonna post it myself, this the stream cord that posts to Discord for me is like, oh no, I got you. Not like I've been waiting for like 3 minutes or anything. Thanks, stream cord. Um, Also my dashboard seems to be acting weird. Okay, now it's refreshed. Okay, cool. Now it's acting right. So, we are going to play some more Final Fantasy. Because as much as I like semi-dislike the game, I also have become addicted to it, which is unfortunate. So we're gonna mess around with that. I'm just gonna adjust some settings in it right now because I had turned the volume down a lot. Hey balls, how's it going? Um, let's see. I think that's good. You guys can hear the background now. Let me know if it's too loud and I'll just turn it down. Okay. Poor V, just over here trying to live his life. Okay, let me make sure. Okay. I'm gonna keep repeating okay until I'm actually okay. So forever. No, V was definitely here first. Okay, kiddos. So I switched my class to Pugilist, and I didn't like it, so I switched it to Rogue, and that's fine, I guess. So I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna even suggest that I have any actual like idea what I'm doing because I don't. I I did like I think I said it last time I played this game. I didn't read any of the instructions or like where it tells you how to play and like talks to you through playing and stuff. I just skipped that. Which is probably bad because it means that I just didn't know how to play. Um, Sorry, somebody DM'd me. Okay, back to this. Yeah, imagine reading the instructions and actually knowing how to play the game that you're playing. So this whole time, I was under the assumption that I was playing as a DPS character, and I only even vaguely knew what that meant as far as, you know, things go. Because can you guys see those notifications? Should I get rid of those? Let me edit my settings real quick. Is it a Streamlabs setting or is it a something else setting? That's the real question. You guys didn't see any pop-up notifications of like messages or anything? Okay. Somebody's DMing me on Discord and I didn't know if you guys could see what it said. And I just wanted to make sure that you couldn't. Okay. Oh, you saw it for a split second? Okay, let me see. Let me do this. Let me just switch screens. Let me put this on this screen. And I'll move my Twitch and stuff over to the other screen. Yeah, I have streamer mode on, but sometimes it doesn't like it doesn't hide the notifications. Let me look at it again and see if maybe I can mess around with it. I'm just gonna disable it for now, and you guys can let me know if you still see them. And if you do, I will try to hide them because I don't want DM leaks. Okay, let me make sure that's where I went. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, I think maybe I fixed it. Let me click out of it. V sent me a DM. So I can see if it hides it now. Yeah, okay, it didn't show. Cool, cool, cool. Good deal. Thank you. Appreciate the help. I don't want to accidentally like leak anyone's messages. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't know how to play this game yet. So I had gotten these like weapons that funny enough, balls. I was gonna talk about it in the meeting coming up, so whoops. But yeah, so I had gotten these weapons that I didn't know how to use, and like they were just really weak weapons. And oh, I remember what I was talking about. DPS. That's where I was at. Let's go there first, and then we'll talk about the other stuff. So I had okay, yeah, that's this one. Was that the one I just clicked? Who knows? Yes, okay. So I had thought that I was playing as a DPS character, which, as I understood it, was just a person who attacks a lot and doesn't pay attention to anything else and doesn't use like spells or anything. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. I just want to key smash and kill things. That's how I play games. Yes, more please. And so I was playing as like a gladiator class, which I guess was actually like the wrong class, because gladiator is tank, and tank you're supposed to distract enemies and just kind of have like high defense, I guess. I'm still not an expert. This is gonna be one of those subjects where I'm like an old person who just doesn't fucking get it. But it's just because I don't play multiplayer games ever. At all. Just waiting for my health to go up. Oh, well, fuck you too, douche. But so I played up until level 33, and I had no idea that I was playing as a tank. And I didn't know that I was doing a bad job until I did like this dungeon that you have to do it with multiple people, but it's part of the storyline, and so they just like set you up with randoms. And so like I did that, and I did a bad job, I guess, because after the battle, like one of the people told me I was a piece of shit at being a tank, and that I should go be something more useful. And I was like, tank, what? And I was like, are you talking to me? And they were like, yeah, you suck. And I was like, eh, me? What? And I just had no fucking idea. I was oblivious to the fact that I was a garbage tank and I had let them down severely. And I just didn't know. I thought I was doing okay. I got very upset and I had to take a break because I almost cried because I felt really guilty. So I then was like, oh, okay, I need to research it to figure out what the correct thing is for like a DPS character. That's what I want to do. I want to attack things and be strong. I want to be strong, you know? And so I researched it a bit. And it was like, oh, you have these like level 1 weathered weapons that you like equipped to change your class. And I was like, what are those? And then I was reading how to get them, and then it was talking to me about how to get them. And no, I don't cry when I lose because it's not a matter of losing. That I don't mind losing. It's a guilty feeling for letting down other people. Because like basically the guy said that we almost lost because I sucked and I let the team down. And so like that's the more the thing that gets me, you know? But anyway, so there was like there's these like level 1 weapons that you like equip the weapon and then that's how you switch your classes. Somebody called you blind in Valorant. Oh, that's mean. That's why I don't play. They're mean. Plus I am bad at FPS games. But so it was like you should get the level 1 items or the level 1 equipment doing these things. And then I was like, I've done those things. Where are my level 1 items? And then I was like, wait a minute. I remember selling things because I didn't know how to put stuff into like a armoire or whatever. So I was keeping it in my inventory. And so my inventory got too full, so I sold a bunch of shit. Well, I sold all of these fucking level 1 items. And so then I had to figure out how to fucking can I do 4? Let's see if I die. We'll keep our fingers crossed that death becomes me. Let's see, what am I supposed to do? Weaken target and then soothe. Okay. But so I had to go and find where to like buy the items back and like all this stuff so that I could try again. And so that's the story about how I realized that I was bad. And so now I'm a rogue, and I'm trying to get back up to level 33, because I can't do anything in the story quests until I get back up to level 33, because I'm garbage. So we're grinding today. Again. And then I talked with Matthias about it, and he helped me get up a couple of levels. And then he suggested I do these little like weird card quests to get level up fast. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing these card quests to level up fast. So yeah, it's interesting. Oh. I can't comfort this sweet little animal? Well, fuck then. Hey Pangu, how you doing? But yeah, so I'm just trying not to die. Story of my life. How are you all doing today, by the way? feel bad that it's so late into the day already and I'm just now streaming. Oh, day ends in an hour. What time is it for you guys? Nice, 5 and 11. $8:30 p.m. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I was like, should I even bother streaming today? Because I waited so long, but I decided to do it anyways. And then I was like, should I play a different game? Like how I was gonna play like maybe some other game that I've played recently. I don't remember what the name of it was, but I was gonna play something else, and then I was like, yeah, it's 1:30. But I normally stream so early, so the people who hang out in my streams are on in the morning. So I have this like intense fear that if I stream in the evening, like I'll just nobody will be there. No one will come. So instead I stream at this time. Let's get that out of here. Yeah, it's actually 1:30 for me, so. Yeah, I had to go buy dog food and buy some groceries today. Yeah, secured the area. I wonder if while I'm fighting these guys, if the other people can see it, or if that guy just thinks I'm fighting air right now. He's probably like this dumb bitch. Look at her over here, fighting nothing. Okay, sway. Yeah. Oh no, 2 of them at once. About to get wrecked. Yeah, also I just kind of button smash, so like I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing like certain combos or something, but I'm just hitting buttons until something happens. So, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's games that I'm looking forward to. If I can think of any of them right now, the answer is no. I can't. I don't know. There's like certain series that I always keep like a very close eye on. Whenever I think that they may be releasing a new one. But then there's other series that like if I see it, I'll obviously purchase it. But I don't normally like wait for E3 or anything like that. Just because like I'm definitely one of those people who has no patience. So the thought of like sitting and waiting for a game to come out that's being shown at E3 maybe like 3 years ahead of time is difficult. I know it's to like prepare the hype and like get it started, but like I want it now. So I'm kind of a sucker when it comes to stuff like that. Um, but I mean, I'd like for some good games to come out, but you know, um, yeah, true. I remember like when Persona 5 was announced, like, oh god, it was like freaking 3 years before it came out. Or look at like Kingdom Hearts 3 or even Kingdom Hearts 2. Like I feel like it was forever before any of them actually came out. Um, I'm just gonna read a message real quick. Somebody pinged me. I don't understand. You ask for help, I give you a resource for help, and then you tell me it was too late. Like, I help you. Is not enough? Okay. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think of what games should be coming out for E3. Let me see. E3 2021 games. Let me see if anyone has a list of games they're expecting. I mean, Breath of the Wild 2, obviously. I'm all about that. Um, Bayonetta 3 is a jam. I'm sure that's going to be amazing. Um, I have mixed feelings about Pokemon games. I will 110% play every Pokemon game that comes out that I don't despise, meaning like the puzzle ones or anything. Um, but I also don't think they're as good as they used to be. I don't know. Um, let's see. The Gecko Gods. That sounds interesting. What's that? Ooh, Wolfstride. I heard of that game. That's supposed to be cool. Oh, look at how cute little gecko. Oh shit, boy. Adorable. Okay. Yeah, Wolfstride's like black and white, got them nice vibes. Definitely has like a Gurren Lagann-esque like aesthetics, um, which I appreciate. But I don't know much about the actual gameplay of it. It's hard to tell. I'll probably play it when it comes out. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean it's hard because like I have very specific preferences for certain games, and they're normally like weird shit. So like I feel like I'm the worst when it comes to like helping people get an idea of good games because I'm just like, look at these cool things. Yeah, the Pokemon trailers, I feel like they're just going downhill. Um, it's disappointing because like I want them to be good. I want to enjoy them and be happy with them. I wanna have nostalgia, you know, but also like you're spitting on my childhood here, you know. So. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be some very interesting ones. I'm kind of curious about the state of VR and where it's headed. Um, I mean, it's been building for a long time, so I feel like they've got to be announcing some good VR games. But who knows, you know? Um, I'm gonna. I can't help them because I'm not part of their party. Sad. It was worth a try though. Um, anyways. Yeah, indie games are definitely more my cup of tea. If it's for two reasons. Like it's not like I dislike large like the more popular triple A games. Yeah, triple A games. That sounds right. If it's wrong, I don't care. It's triple A games now. It's not like I dislike them. I just think like indie games, I can see the work put into it, and it feels new and unique. Whereas I feel a lot of AAA games tend to recycle and reuse, which is fine in certain instances, but like it becomes repetitive after a certain amount of time. Um, it just it's kind of, what am I supposed to do again? Uh oh yeah, throw things on these people. Um, what? Do I not have the thing I need? Defeat Firefly to obtain thing. Okay, so I need to kill Firefly to get dust. But yeah, so I feel like it gets repetitive and it's just sort of recycling. Every FIFA game is 100% different. Yes, accurate statement. Um, I hate it. I was completely at a loss for words because of how much I like just think it's so dumb. Um, I like appreciate that people enjoy certain games that I don't enjoy. That, good for them. But also like, you know, it's to me, I look at Call of Duty, for example, and I'm like, okay, it's just another first-person shooter war game. But at the same time, if I look at some of the RPG games that I play, like it's exactly the same for like the AAA titles. Um, I mean like I want to see new mechanics. I want to see something interesting. I want to see it change. Blue Protocol? That sounds familiar. It almost reminds me. Oh yeah, I have looked at this. Yes. Yes, I am interested in playing that. Yes. Accurate. Um, I will definitely play it when it comes out. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like indie games just because I feel like they feel more. Like does that make sense? They feel more, but like, they have like, I can feel the effort and love that somebody put into a game, and I feel this emotional connection to it. Whereas with the AAA titles, a lot of them I don't feel that. I mean, there's some that I definitely can see it in, but there's others that are just not there. And I think it's kind of a sad loss because I want them to be good. But I think that's why I tend to go for like really unique, weird indie games, um, because I just like the way that they feel better. Um, no, don't do that. Put your sword away. I just want you to talk to him. Yeah, friendly. Keep accidentally like walking up to these guys when I'm supposed to be like checking if they're bad guys and like just murdering them on accident. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna be some cool games. Whoops, I moved. I have like a whole list of indie games that I've been looking forward to. Oh, I have to kill more fireflies? Are you kidding me? They're all the way over there. That person has weird wheels, and I don't really like that. Yeah, basically, whoops. That's I'm trying to remember. Yeah, yesterday when I was playing with Matthias, I kept doing that. It's like we were doing this exact sort of quest that we're supposed to like kill these fireflies and then like collect like the dust shit that they drop and like throw it onto monsters to check and see if they're like actually an imp in disguise. But I kept pressing the wrong button, and so I kept fucking attacking them, and then I was like trying to throw the glow dust on them while they were attacking me, And I was like, why is nothing working? And Matthias is like, don't attack them. And I'm like, but I just clicked them. I don't understand. But when you right click, you attack. When you left click, you just select. And I just didn't read the instructions. I mean, you know. I feel like for most games I read the instructions, but for this one, I just assumed that it wouldn't be important, which was dumb. Assumptions make asses out of you and me. I said to myself, and then I was double ass. That's the dumbest shit. I feel like most of the time I'm fine with tutorials and I just like put up with them, but like this game I was just like, I don't give a shit what you have to say, there's too much words there. No thank you. And then I wandered away, so, you know. Also, I see some people wearing like really nice like outfits, you know, that it looks like they've picked each piece individually and like chosen them to be like the perfect outfit, and then I'm over here and I'm like, I got this from a quest, I'm gonna put it on, I don't care what I look like. So, very different. Yeah, I'm still on the fence if I even enjoy this game. Yeah, yeah. I know most people hate grinding, but I don't mind it that much. I think it's like kind of relaxing. Yesterday I was grinding while listening to a YouTube video about a murder. It was interesting. More like the psychology behind the murderers and interviewing them. Yeah, you can only grind at certain times. Hey Tam, how's it going? I think I'm fine grinding. I normally listen to like music at the same time or like fuck around and multitask. But I feel like it's easier when I have like a story quest item that I'm headed towards. Since I just changed my class, like I think all the quests are geared towards the higher level. Or I've just done them already. So, you know. I'm doing okay. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and then I went out grocery shopping, and now I'm here playing this. I thought about playing Satisfactory, but there's 4 people playing it, and I think there's only 4 slots to play it, so you can't have more than 4 people. So I didn't want to make them feel like they had to make space for me. So I am doing this instead. Let's go this way. Oh no, no computer hard gang. I think that's why I bought the pre-built computer. I wanted to build my own so bad. But like, it just, logistically, because it was the beginning of quarantine and everything was sold out everywhere, it just wasn't ever gonna be possible to do. Excuse me, how dare you target me? I'm offended. Well, if anyone plays, or if anyone wants to play, I do play sometimes. So you're always welcome to join me, although I can't say it'll be exciting. See, Tim, I think of it like this, okay? Like, I bought the pre-built. I still plan on getting a really good PC, but I think the plan is that my pre-built parts will be my backup parts once I get the good PC. So if anything breaks, then I can always just pull it from the pre-built and stick it in the good PC as a temporary thing. At least that's my hope that that's how it'll work out. Hey Hades, how's it going? We're playing online games with strangers. People only talk to me to tell me I'm bad. It's great. Been having a good time. I'm just kidding. It's fine so far. It's mainly just grinding. Yeah, true. Hey Noah, how's it going, man? Yeah, I feel like if you want a PC now, like you literally have no choice but to go with a pre-built. I mean, you can get like 80% of the PC parts that you need, but then you're just gonna get stuck. I mean, graphics cards are impossible right now. It's no joke out there right now. Graphic card life be like that. Yeah. It's almost like a choice of saving your money for a new PC, and by the time you get to the point where you actually can purchase a PC, you've saved like, I don't know, fucking $10,000 because it's 20 years later. Or you buy a pre-built and just slowly get the parts and upgrade, you know? Well, hello, stranger. Cool, cool. I guess that's kind of where I land with it, at least. Hey, Wolf, how's it going, man? You guys still playing Satisfactory? Thanks, Matt. Oh yeah. What kind of character do you have on Final Fantasy, Wolf? Like what is the type of thing? I learned this. I'm smart and new. Tank and FPS. No, 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 that's not the right word. What's DPS? DPS. Hmm? Hmm? Okay, Matt. I'll see you later. I figured you'd be a tank and a cat girl. Actually, both of those things. Honestly. You'd be the best tank cat girl. Yeah, I can add you. I added Matthias already, and Soup. I haven't started playing with anyone though. I played with Matthias for a little bit just to level, but I kind of want to go through solo and do the story stuff. And then maybe I'll play with people, or maybe I'll just quit and be sad. Who knows? We'll see. Die. Death. Yeah, yeah. Murdered. Oh, that's okay. I see, I see. Yeah, I've done a couple of the dungeons for the because it's part of the quest thing, but I haven't done too many. Sorry, I'm just responding to someone real quick. Thanks, Wolf. Yeah, I was accidentally playing as a tank for a while and I didn't know it. So that was cool. Side note, how's everyone doing? I've been a little cranky because I'm still struggling with the idea that, yeah, I am Wolf. I'm still struggling a little bit with the idea that there's gonna be a house built near mine. In real life, not in this game. I don't have a house yet. That sounds expensive. But anyways, so like, there's a neighbor on the left side of me, but on the right side it's all forest. And then it's like quite a big section of forest, and then on the other side of that there's this big fucking mansion house. And so the owner of the community, I guess you could say, that I live in, it's just the street that I live off of. All of the houses off of that street were built by, or the land was sold, and the community was founded by the owners of the big mansion house. Nice, Tim. And so, like, I already have some problems with the people in the big mansion house because, like, they set off dynamite and stuff and shoot guns a lot, and it's, like, very stressful. I don't know if I've discussed it with you guys, but I have really severe PTSD. And so I don't like loud sounds. I'm on a rock. And so I already get, like, frustrated with them. But the land in between us, for the most part, dampens the sound. Sorry, 1 second. I need to hydrate. Tim didn't remind me and I almost died. But so the trees dampen the sound quite a bit. Well, they, the freaking mansion house went, and they own the area with the trees. They went and sold it, and I mean, it's their right to sell it for sure. But they wouldn't sell it as just land. They would only sell it as like a house being built on it. So it's like a contract with a construction company. That if you purchase it, you have to go through that construction company and build a house right now, sort of thing. Which is annoying. Yeah. I think I'll see what's over here. I don't know what's over here. And so I'm really frustrated because the surveyor came out and like marked the land and everything. And it looks like they're gonna flatten that whole area, so they're gonna take down all of those trees, and now I'm gonna have neighbors on either side. Why is that fucking level 42? No, thank you. And I'm a very private person, and I enjoy my privacy. And I'm really upset about it. I mean, like, to some degree, I have no right to be upset at because it's not my land. But, like, I tried to contact them and see if they would just sell the land, and I was gonna try to figure out a loan to purchase it so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah, I can plant trees on my own land, but the problem is I have to wait for them to grow. And I have 3 acres. A little over 3 acres. So like to get enough trees to like block the view of a neighbor's house would cost a fortune. And especially if I wanted to get ones that were tall enough that they actually cover and block the view. It's just because I don't like living where someone can just look in my windows. It's just an anxiety thing. I've had a difficult life. And so I get afraid very quickly and easily. I'm a big baby. And I'm like just really pissed off about it. And so every time I see the construction workers or like the surveyors or like anyone who's like working on building the house, I just get like really, really upset. Like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum. And I'm just like, meh, I hate it. And I feel like my husband's like completely tired of it. Because last time I said it to him, he was like, I don't know what your problem is. We'll just get blinds and close the windows. And I was like, I don't want to close the windows. I want the sunlight. Why do I have to change? Why? I bought this house thinking no one would live there. Because when we bought the house, they said that the land was owned by that house and that they hadn't heard anything about them planning to sell it or anything like that, that they thought the community building was done. So like I thought that like I was gonna have this nice privacy. Um, but yeah, it's not the case and I'm just disappointed by it. But so I got super pissed today because I went to pick up the mail and they had hung up a sold sign and a construction sign. And I was just really annoyed because like I said, I know they have a right to it. It's their land. They can do what they want. They've sold it, you know, I get it. But also, I just wish that I could have just purchased it and not have to not have to deal with like other people. Because on top of it, the position of where their house is gonna you guys gonna go on a crusade. The position of where their house is gonna be built is almost directly in front of my house. So it's not even like they're a neighbor. They will be in front of my house. So it's very annoying. I just want to live in my forest in silence. I want to be able to like I don't know, have a weekend where I feel like cleaning and I just turn up my music really loud and open all the windows and I don't have to worry about the neighbors getting upset. Like I know these are stupid examples, but you know, I want to be able to take my dog outside off leash and not have to worry about like making someone feel uncomfortable about it. I just kind of want to like exist in my own safety bubble without having to worry about outside worries. Because like the wild animals don't bother me. I actually really love having them there. And that's the other thing is I'm like, are we gonna lose like a bunch of the wild animals because their like living space gets destroyed? Like that's sad. Yeah, Tim, I wish I could just get some hedges and trees, but they're really expensive when you buy full-sized, fully grown ones. I know when I was looking at them, it was something like almost 200 bucks for like a medium-sized one. So like they're pretty expensive. And so to get like a whole area of them. Yeah, but how many years did it take? I think that's like my frustration is on top of it, the guy said the house would be built within like 6 months. But also they'll be building for 6 months. So like, yeah, so like I don't really want to wait 5 years to not be able to see my neighbors. Like I don't want to see them right now. Like I know I'm being whiny and just kind of a big baby about it, but it's just hard. Like we looked for a very long time to find the right house for us. And like when we found this one, we were like, it's perfect. It's secluded. We don't have to look at people. I don't have to worry. Like if I forget like my jeans in the dryer, I can just walk downstairs with no pants on, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I've lived in a lot of different places and I've lived in houses that are directly next to each other to where like you look out your window and you're looking into your neighbor's dining room table and there's no yard in between or anything. It's just like a couple freaking inches. And I've lived in houses that you have a big yard and you're in the woods. And it's always just been my preference to have my personal space separate from where others are. Not that I have anything against other people, I just don't like them. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just me being like particular. I wish I could clean up these bottles. I don't know if they're offerings or if it's trash. Okay, let's wander around some more. Boop boop. Let's see, what else can I babble about? I could talk about June and tell you guys how she's doing, but like, it's kind of gross, so I don't know if I want to like go over it too much because I don't want to like freak anyone out. But she's doing okay-ish. Tim, it's a thing though. It's like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like whenever I think of my PTSD, I know how debilitating it is for me. Like I know that there are times where I can't drive because of how severe it is. I can't go outside. I can't speak. I can't interact with people. But at the same time, like, there's always, especially when you have some sort of problem, there's always this thought in your mind that your problem is smaller than other people's, and that you're over exaggerating or you're, just whining or you're just being a baby, and I feel like it's kind of the natural state um, of just um, not thinking that your reasoning is good enough. Yeah, it's sort of an imposter syndrome. V, are you talking about what's my PTSD about? Or like why, I guess? Okay, I can tell you half of why I have it. The other half I don't want to talk about. I was in a really, really bad car accident. I think I may have talked about it on a stream or so. It was pretty bad. It was pretty traumatic for me. I feel like it wouldn't have been as bad if I didn't know it was going to happen. But basically I was in a car that was rear-ended at high speeds. I was stopped completely, and the other car was going very fast. No, it's okay. It's okay. The car accident one's not too bad. The other one I just don't wanna bring up. It's too personal. But I was rear-ended by a car going at very high speeds. And my car was pretty fucked up. It was like $100 under what it required to be considered totaled, or a lost cause, which is absurd. But basically, when the person was like, God, it had to have been like a couple 100 feet from me. I could see them in my rearview mirror coming towards me. And I knew they were gonna hit me for at least a few minutes before they hit me. But I was trapped in a spot that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move my car. I couldn't run away. I had nothing that I could do to prevent it from occurring. All I could do was just tense my whole body for it, which is the wrong thing to do. It felt like forever when it happened. And then some of the stuff that followed afterwards kind of like just made it worse. But it just really, really messed me up. I know, like, when people think of PTSD, a lot of the time they think about like two specific types. They think about PTSD related to war or active duty or something like that. and they think of PTSD due to like a traumatic event like a kidnapping or like a murder in your family. They don't always think of it for things like a car accident or something. So even though it's something that bothers me, I do prefer to talk about that part of it. Because I think, yeah, I think people are pretty narrow-minded, and a lot of the time they don't think about the fact that you can really get PTSD from anything. Literally, like anything. And I've had people before tell me that a car accident isn't a good enough reason, that everyone's been in car accidents before, and that I should just grow up. Things like that. And so for a long time, I thought that I had basically brought it upon myself by being weak-minded. Um, yeah, it's one of those things that it's like somebody targeted me but then disappeared. Whatever. Okay. It's one of those things that it definitely makes you feel that imposter syndrome feeling even more because you actually like had that scenario. After my car accident, the kids who caused the accident, not only were they on their phone, but they were not remorseful in any way. And so that was pretty, because like they just they I don't know, like basically I looked at them in my rearview mirror. I knew they were going to hit me. I had enough time to completely turn my wheel all the way to the right-hand side. Oh, the stream's lagging. It's showing that it's still got good quality. Is it lagging for anyone else? Oh, it's back now? Okay. But so I saw them coming. I turned my wheel all the way to the right because I was worried about hitting the car in front of me, and I wanted to make sure that if they pushed me really far, oh hey T-Bolt, that they wouldn't push me into the car in front of me. So like I had enough time to like have some like thoughts prior to them hitting me. And so when they actually hit me, they like completely crushed my trunk, the trunk of my car, and then their car, after crushing the trunk, went under my car, and ripped out a large portion of the bottom. And it was at that point that I sort of like blacked out in a way, I guess you could say. I didn't pass out, but I had such a severe panic attack that I don't remember a lot of what happened in that specific moment. So I remember when I finally like was like a little bit more mentally stable, I guess you could say. Their car was no longer underneath mine, so they had backed it up, and pulled it out of underneath my car. And they had parked right where they had backed up, so they weren't even like out of the way, because we were on a highway turnoff to get on a highway exit to get off the getting off the highway exit. And so the reason that I was completely stopped is because there was traffic. It was rush hour, and so the cars in front of me exiting had stopped, and so I stopped behind them like you're supposed to when a car stops. And I was completely in the exit lane, not at all on the highway any longer. And it was a one-lane exit. And that was where they hit me. And it wasn't like it curved or anything like that. It was in complete view from the highway. But the kid, he turned off the exit without slowing down at all. Going between 80 and 90 miles an hour. And he was on his cell phone, leaning back, looking into the back seat. I remember it like it was today. Like it was 2 minutes ago. I can still feel like how it felt, you know? But so, like, they had gotten the car out of underneath my car, and they had just kind of parked there, still like on the exit, like completely blocking traffic. And I was just like out of it. Um, I didn't understand what was going on. Like I just didn't know what to do. I was like really freaked out and like confused. Because my brain like just shut down. It just was like, no, you're too scared, you're too panicked. Like stop. Just stop. And so finally like when I calmed down after a few minutes, like they had all gotten out of their vehicle and they were standing to one side of their car and they were just laughing and joking with each other. And like that alone is like weirdly traumatic. um I don't know how to like explain the feeling of like feeling like somebody just hurt you a lot and then they laugh at it. um I don't know if it was like an anxiety laugh or like a discomfort laugh. Actually, that's not true. I know what it was. And I know it wasn't an anxiety or discomfort laugh. It was very different because so I called 911 and I told them that I needed help and that I didn't know what to do and I was terrified. And they were like, you just need to pull off out of the way to a safe area. And so I was like, okay, no problem. And like this was already like maybe 10 minutes after the accident. And they had not come over to like see if I was okay or anything. And I was so freaked out that I couldn't move my legs. I was just like paralyzed in like complete fear. Like it's very hard to explain unless you've experienced it, but it's like even just picking up my phone to call like felt like a task. Yeah, literally 911 was like park it somewhere out of the way because you're gonna get hit again if you sit on the exit ramp, which I understand, but like I like told them I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even really like explain to her where I was either because I wasn't at home or like nearby my house. I was actually traveling. So I had there was a hedgehog. I know, a hedgehog that I was transporting to its new home. Before I get any further in the story, he's fine and he made it no problem. But his cage was in the trunk. So in addition to being like freaked out, and I thought he was dead. And I was driving I was driving halfway to meet the person who was adopting him. So I had driven maybe 2 hours from home. This was back in like 2013-ish. But yeah, I was driving him to his new home, and we were meeting halfway from where they were, basically. And so, I was very, very freaked out because I thought he was dead. And like I thought, not only was I traumatized that they almost killed me, but I was like, they killed him. Like, and the owner or the person who was adopting him had hedgehogs in the past, and theirs had recently passed away of cancer. So they were like really looking forward to it, and their kids were looking forward to it. And so like there was just 100 different things in my mind at that moment. Just unable to like slow down and think through things. And so the lady, the 911 person was like, just pull off to the side and a police officer will get there soonish. It took forever to like try to explain to her where I was. It was very difficult. It sounds stupid because it is stupid, But like literally I had no idea where I was. Don't worry, V, it gets worse. This is a great story. I love telling people it because it's just awful. Um, sorry, I'm fighting with my water bottle. Give me a minute. Um, but yeah, so I was in Massachusetts. I was living in New Hampshire at the time, and I was driving through Massachusetts, and I was all the way on the other side of Massachusetts. So it was like very far from my home. So the 911 operator didn't want to stay on the phone with me. She had asked me if I was okay, and I said I don't know, because I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but it was like my whole body was numb. Remember I told you my legs felt like they were paralyzed? It was like my whole body was numb, so I couldn't feel anything. I didn't know if I was in pain. All I could feel was this intense, suffocating fear. Just absolutely suffocating. It was like you're dying, like there's a weight on your chest crushing you alive. I hope none of you ever have to experience it, but if you do, you'll know what I mean. And I hang up with her because she didn't want to stay on the phone. Sorry, hiccups. And this was probably like 10 to 15 minutes after the accident had happened. Finally, at this point in time, one of the passengers who was in the back seat comes up and asks me if I'm okay. And I remember just staring at him, almost like, are you serious? Like, are we looking at the same situation? No, I'm not okay. Yeah, it was like hard too, and I was calling on my cell phone, and I just like didn't know what to do, and like I don't know, the lady just sounded annoyed when I talked to her, and it was like very frustrating because like I imagine that 911 operators should be they should be the person that you're happiest to hear from, like not that you feel like you're being a discomfort or an inconvenience to. So it was pretty frustrating. But so the kid came up and asked me if I was okay, and I could like barely speak because like I got really freaked out when he came up to me. Um, even even more so than like I could ever imagine, like because he was a young kid. Yeah, but Wolf, I went through as a different class, and I switched classes, so I can't do the quest because it's too high level for me to do. Um, but yeah. Anyways, back to the story. You think the situation's shitty so far? I haven't even touched the surface. I was maybe like 22. Yes, I am. And so we pull the cars over because all I could say to the kid was like that the 911 person would send someone and that we needed to move the vehicles. And the kid was like, okay. And so I never spoke to them again. Oh, thanks for the follow. Um, they never came back up to the window. They never approached me again. Oh, thank you. They never really like talked to me after that initial interaction where they asked me if I was okay. And so I just sat in my car for probably about another 10 minutes. So now we're like almost 30 minutes after the accident, and I still can't really like function. And so I remember that at this point I finally was like, I have to go check if he's dead to see if the hedgehog had been killed when the trunk was crushed. And it was really hard to like get up the courage to like go look because I hadn't seen the car yet. I hadn't gotten out of the vehicle. I didn't know how bad it looked. All I knew is that like it felt really uncomfortable. Yeah, literally like all I could do was just sit in the car and just feel scared. And like I didn't even call my husband. Or we were just dating at the time, but I didn't even call him because I just didn't know what to do. It was like my brain was off. Um, so I get out of the car and I look at the back, and it doesn't look that bad. It almost looked like nothing much had happened. And I remember feeling this intense embarrassment. Yeah, I do remember how old the kids were. I'll get there. I remember feeling this intense embarrassment because I was like, am I making a big deal out of like a fender bender? Um, but the thing was, is I just didn't, I couldn't, it's not like looking at your car and then looking at a picture of what it used to look like and saying, oh yes, that looks terrible. It was like I was looking at a car that I didn't even recognize in a way because my brain was just so off that I was like, yes, this car is supposed to be this length. It wasn't. But like also because of the type of bumper I had, it like popped in and then popped back out, so it flexed, so it didn't look bad from the outside, but the whole underside was like just torn out, and they had hit it really hard to where the trunk was completely jammed and there was no way I could get into it. And so I had to go from the back seat, and I had to pull the seats down to get into the trunk. And so I finally get the trunk open, but his cage is too big for me to get the top off to look and see if he's in there. And I can see that the cage looks crumpled on one side, but like he normally lays on the other side. So I was like, okay, it's fine, it's fine. And during this whole time, none of them had come up to me or anything. They just, like, I was just, like, hanging out by myself while they were all standing next to their car. Now, I was close enough that I could hear what they were saying. So, I'm looking to see if this hedgehog is dead. And I hear them laughing and joking about how, they've destroyed the car, and how it's fine because his parents don't really care about stuff like that, and they're just like laughing about school and stuff. And when the police officer did the police report, I found out that they were between the ages of 17 and 14, I believe. 17 and 14 or 17 and 15. And there was 4 of them in the car. And they just thought it was the funniest thing. Like, they were like, man, you're so screwed. You're never going to be able to drive to school again. Like, you're going to have to ride the bus. And I am just, I can't even put it into words that how I was feeling, because it was just such an intense, like, deadness in a way. And so I finally get the cage. I basically had to break the cage in order to get into it. And I reach in, and he's in there, and hedgehogs huff. And so he huffs at me, and I remember like I started crying because I was like, that means he's alive. And so I pull him out, and he's poking me because he's like, I'm sleeping, bitch. Like, haven't you put me through enough fucking trauma? And he was okay. And I remember just feeling like such relief. And like I finally could breathe. And so like I grabbed him and I bring him out, and like it was kind of freaking it was kind of cold outside. This all happened in April. Yeah, I think laughing in stressful situations is one thing, and like I think that's what I thought they were doing initially when they had gotten out of the car like the first time, but it just doesn't seem like it. And there's another part of the story that makes me think that they didn't feel bad. So we'll get to that too. And so I was very upset. Um, and hedgehogs require it to be warm. They can't be in the cold for very long. At least the species that are kept as pets in the United States. And so he normally has a heater in his cage. And because we were traveling with the heat on in my car, we thought it would be fine. So I didn't, there was no way to keep him warm except for my jacket. Because I didn't want to leave the car on because I was afraid of what would happen and stuff. And so I had the car off and I had him in my sleeve in my pocket. And he was just curled up sleeping. And so finally the police arrive, and now it's been almost 40 minutes. And it was around this time that I had finally got onto the phone and called the people that I was supposed to be meeting to adopt him. And I explained the whole situation to them, and I tried to tell them where I was, and they were going to try to meet me there to pick him up, because I was like, I don't think I'll be able to drive the rest of the way. And they were like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Because they had never driven in Massachusetts either. And they were in another part of Massachusetts, and they were like, this place is awful. It's no wonder somebody hit you. And so they were headed to meet me. So the police finally get there. And I remember the police officer looked at me and looked at them and went directly towards them. And he had parked in front of my car. So he walked past me to go to them. And I remember feeling oh, maybe he's going to yell at them for causing the accident or something. And I was sitting in my passenger seat now because I was afraid to be in the driver's side because the road's on that side. And so he talked with them for probably about 20 minutes before he came over to me. And I didn't hear him say anything to them about it being bad or anything, and I couldn't hear all of the conversation because they had gotten a little further away and I was just so focused on other stuff. And so when he finally comes over, he's like, okay, we're gonna have you fill out this for the police report and everything. It seems like everyone's fine. And I didn't say I was fine to the police officer ever. I didn't tell him I was okay because I still couldn't feel anything quite right. I still didn't know. And he was like, since they're minors, we're going to be calling an ambulance to check on them. So we'll get a tow truck for your car. And then walked away. And I was just like, I just didn't know what to do. Cause first of all, you're gonna get a tow truck for my car, and then what about me? Do I ride in the tow truck, or do they just take my car? I don't understand. I've never had to have my car towed, so I don't know what it entails. And then he hasn't said anything to me about them. And I had asked them when the kid came over before, I asked them if all of them were okay, and he was like, yeah, we're all fine. So I knew they were fine, but I was not okay. So the ambulance finally arrives, and the ambulance is talking with all the kids, and I'm still sitting in my passenger seat just confused. And I had put the hedgehog back in his cage and closed the door just because I knew he was okay now and I felt a little bit better about it. And so I remember breathing in deeply and feeling a lot of pain. And I remember that my body finally started to relax. And now we're getting into an hour and a half after or so. So I remember my body starting to relax. And I remember almost immediately I was in excruciating pain. I was in so much pain that I just didn't even understand. It was like I breathed in and then it all just hit me. My neck hurt and my back was in so much pain. And then my chest, right between them titties, was just so much pain. I had a huge black bruise right across my chest from the seatbelt. Um, yes, I do have permanent problems from this. Um, so I like started like really freaking out at this point and I started crying. Yeah, they hit me hard enough that the seatbelt literally like left, and I'm not talking like a light bruise. I'm talking like a deep tissue bruise. Like you could see the whole seatbelt line all from my shoulder down to my lower hip. Um, and then across my waist. It didn't bruise me as bad, but it still was sore. And like I just had no idea that could happen. So like I didn't understand because like I was fine a second ago. And now suddenly like my neck is hurting and my back is hurting and I start crying and like freaking out because I'm like I'm gonna die. Um and no worries, V. It it happens. I feel like at some point everyone's going to experience a car accident. It's just a question of the severity of it and the situation around it. I think that mine's important to talk about because I want people to know what shouldn't happen. I want people to understand what they should not expect. Um, and so I like got really scared because I didn't know, like I had never felt pain that severe ever. And I already have chronic pain. At this point, I already had chronic joint pain that I would experience so much pain in my hips and knees that I wouldn't be able to walk. So for this to be worse than that, like I knew something was really wrong. And so I remember standing up and I remember calling out to the police officer and like trying to get him to come over. And I remember him looking at me annoyed and walking over. I think he was just like, why don't you just fucking walk over here yourself? But like now that the pain was hitting, like I was like dead, dead, could not. Um, so he comes over and he's like, "How can I help you, ma'am?" And I'm like, I'm in a lot of pain all of a sudden and I don't know what to do. I'm scared." And like I said it just like that. Like I remember very clearly. Um, and he was like, "Do you think we need to get you looked at by a paramedic or one of the ambulance people?" And I was like, "Yes, I am dying." And so he fucking rolled his eyes at me. And he said, "Fine," and sighed really loudly and walked over to the ambulance. And I could hear him say, "Well, now she's got pain." But I was just still really just confused and like scared. Like I don't even know how to explain like PTSD because like I think it started immediately. Like it was immediately like I just shut down. Like I started shutting down anytime there was anything. And so like I don't feel like I reacted normally to anything that happened in this accident. Um, it didn't feel like me. It was like watching a movie play. Um, yeah, was it the first time the cop was at an accident? I have no idea. I don't even remember the cop very well. Yeah, it's like I was there, but I wasn't. Um, and nothing felt real. I was almost worried that I was having like a schizophrenic break or something like, and I just didn't know what was happening. And so the ambulance workers came over and fucking surprise, surprise, they seemed just as fucking annoyed. And I just don't even know why. Like, what did I do to upset all these people? And I think it was just Massachusetts, okay? I think it was just Massachusetts has like shitty people in it in some places, and I think I just happened to be in like a bad county. Um, well, it's this isn't even like it continues to get worse because this is a long-term thing that's been going on for like a long time. Like it wasn't like I had the accident and it was done. Like it was literally like weeks, days, months of problems after this car accident. So I tell them that I've got really bad neck pain. They try to get me to move my head to the sides. And I move my head to the right, no problem. And I can't turn my head to the left at all. Um, it's like completely locked up. Yeah, I didn't break down yet. I like survived it. And now I'm here. But it put me through a lot of suffering. But so I couldn't move my head to the left at all. I couldn't turn. I couldn't, like, it was like just completely stuck. Um, and my shoulder had started hurting. And my back was just atrocious. And so they're like, fine, we'll take you to the hospital. You're gonna have to get your car towed. And so I talked to the police officer, and like these were my exact words to him. Okay. There is a hedgehog in the trunk. It is a live animal. The people who are adopting it are 5 minutes away. Because throughout this whole thing, I was calling them, they were calling me, we were like talking back and forth because I was trying to get them there as quickly as possible and help them find the place so that they could pick up the hedgehog. So the police officer says to me, well, we can't transport the vehicle with an animal in it. And I'm like, I know. That's why I'm telling you. They'll be here in 5 minutes. Can you wait for them? And like, there was no tow truck yet for my car. There was no tow truck for the other car. Like, there was nothing there yet to show that there was going to be a tow truck within the next 5 minutes that would, like beat them to reaching that. And the police officer was like, fine, I will wait here and I will ensure that the hedgehog gets picked up by the adopters. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you, like, I thank you so much. And like, I was just so appreciative, which was a mistake. Because we get about like a few minutes down the road and I get a call from the adopters and they're like, we just got here. They've already got it on the tow truck. They won't give me the hedgehog. They told me that I'll just have to follow them to the tow yard and that I'll have to pay to get the vehicle out in order to get the hedgehog. And I was like, are you fucking joking? And I'm like, what if I don't have the money to pay? You just gonna leave the animal in the vehicle to die? Would you do the same thing if it was a dog? Would you do the same thing if it was a cat? Like, what the fuck? And so now I'm on the phone, like, absolutely, like, losing my shit because now I'm even more upset. I'm in an ambulance. They've got me in a fucking neck brace. They, like, seem annoyed with me. I'm on the phone with the people trying to adopt this hedgehog. They're driving behind the tow truck that's now dragging my car. So it had the two back wheels on the ground and it had the other wheels up on the tow. So it wasn't even like it was a flat tow. Like it was an angled tow. So I'm like, the hedgehog's probably fucking rolling around in his fucking cage. And then it's cold. And I'm just like, it hit me so hard in that moment that like I just started bawling and like almost yelling that I didn't know what to do, that I just didn't know how to fix it, and that I didn't know what to do. Just repeatedly saying that. And like the lady who's adopting was so nice. And she was literally crying with me and she was like, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. Like, you don't deserve any of this. You're a good person. This is such bullshit. And like, I was just inconsolable. And so the whole time I'm trying to get a hold of someone to help me. I had like, it did feel super lonely. I called my husband and he was driving to meet me, but it's 2 hours. And so he was gonna meet me at the hospital. And so I'm trying to get a hold of the tow truck company because the lady gave me the phone number for the tow truck company because the police officer was like nice enough to stick around to give her that, but not to give her the fucking animal in the vehicle. And so I get a hold of the tow truck company. I explained to the owner of the place because that's the other thing. It's like I talked to like 3 people and all of them were like, nope, we can't help you. And I was like, just let me talk to your boss. Just let me talk to anyone who can help me. And all while in an ambulance and the sirens going off as they're driving me to the hospital. And so I finally get a hold of the tow truck owner, the tow truck place's owner. And I explained to him the situation, and I'm like, it's a live animal. And he's like, well, I can't do anything. And I was like, you know, if you let a live animal die in a vehicle in your lot, I will sue you. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess when they get here, they can take it out. They just need your permission. And I'm like, well, I'm giving my permission. This is their names. They'll be there with their kids to pick up, you know, the animal. You're allowed to let them in my vehicle. And I'm so angry that the only way to get him to agree was to threaten legal action. Like, what kind of human are you? And so they finally get there. They talk to him again. They have to go through a couple of employees to actually talk to the boss so that he can confirm, yes, this is the right people. Sorry, I get hiccups whenever I tell stories. And so they let them into the vehicle. They had to get a new cage for him because of the whole accident and everything. Yeah, Gen 1 people, but in real life, basically. So, they called me and they were like so relieved and they were like, it's okay, we have him, he's okay, we've got him in our car, he's warm now. Because like it had started snowing a little bit and everything, and I was like, he's gonna freeze to death in a lot, because it's an outdoor lot that my car is now parked in the freezing cold. Like he won't survive more than a couple of hours. And so they get him. And I remember just finally feeling like a bit of relief. And while they were picking him up, I had finally gotten to the hospital. So I get to the hospital, and they ask me what's wrong. I explain, and they're like, okay. And they put me in this dark back hallway, like out in the middle of nowhere. And like the reason I say it was out in the middle of nowhere is because I didn't hear anyone. Like hospitals are pretty busy and loud. Like I didn't hear anyone talking. Like I could hear people in the distance, but I didn't hear anyone talking. And I was there for maybe an hour and like 20 minutes before my husband finally made it to the hospital. And they brought him back to me after having trouble finding me. And then we sit there for another hour or so. And finally a nurse comes in and she hands me an ibuprofen. And then she says, I'll come back and check on you in a little bit. I say, okay. And about another 2 hours later, she comes and hands me paperwork and says, are you ready to check out? And I said, you guys haven't done anything except given me an ibuprofen. Like, literally nobody's spoken to me since I got here. And she was like, yeah, but you seem fine, and we need the beds. This was in Massachusetts. And I was just like, you haven't done anything. You haven't done any x-rays or anything. Like, I'm still in a lot of pain. And she was like, did you take the ibuprofen? And I was like, yes, you handed it to me. And, like, she was basically like, well, there's nothing further we can do. Just see your general doctor, tomorrow. And I was like, you guys haven't done anything. Like, you literally haven't even checked on me. You haven't looked at my back. You haven't looked at my neck. Like, I'm still in the neck brace from the ambulance. Like, what do you mean? What do you fucking mean? And she was like, that's all I can do for you. And I remember even my husband was like annoyed, but my husband's non-confrontational at all. So like he wasn't very helpful in the situation, and he also didn't really understand like the how much pain I was in. I don't think he like really understood the situation at all either. Because he hadn't seen the car, so he didn't know how bad it was or anything like that, and he wasn't there for the accident. So it's like, you know, I feel like there's a general assumption that like doctors should have the answers, and if the doctor is telling you to go home, then the doctor, you know, probably did what they needed to. But like they didn't do anything. It was so dumb. So they show me the way out. And I was like, whatever, I'm gonna go home. I can't do this anymore. And this was when I really broke. That I really just was like, it's fine. If I fall asleep and die, like, I'm done. Like, I don't care. Which is awful. Guys, don't ever feel that way. You have a right to get treatment and get help. You shouldn't let some asshole take that from you. But I just felt like it didn't matter anymore. That like I had done what I could, and that like maybe my brain's just bleeding and I'll just go to sleep and be okay, which is awful. Again, like don't think that way. But at the time, like it felt like why would I continue struggling when this whole situation had just been so much pain? And so yeah, I could have sued the hospital for sure. I did take legal action for something else, but I'll tell you about that afterwards. So it was, let's see, the accident happened probably at like 2-ish p.m., between 2 and 4 p.m. And by the time I got out and everything was all done and everything, it was something like midnight, 1 a.m. Like a number of hours had passed. And so now we have another issue. I had a test the next day in class. I was in college at the time, and I needed to take this test. It was really important to pass this test. But the problem is all my school books and all my homework were in my car. So we were like, it's fine. We'll go to the tow place. It says 24 hours, and we'll see if we can get the stuff out of the car. Maybe they'll just make us pay a fee or something, you know? And so we go there. Yeah. Yeah, the school would have probably been like, we don't give a fuck, like, you need to be here for your test. So I needed to be there for my test. And that's like, the thing is my brain wasn't working right at the time. All I could think about was like the dumbest things. So yeah, take a year, it's fine. That would have been nice. Yeah, because it was a whole mess even after this. I ended up going to hundreds of doctor's appointments because of this whole situation. But anyways, so we get to the tow place, and there's no one there. And we're like, but it's 24 hours. It says that it's open all night long. So we call them, and they explain that they have it open 24 hours, but that you have to pay double for anything after a certain time for a night fee. Which I'm like, how are you going to be listed as 24 hours and you going to charge a night fee? Like, excuse me, that's not how it works. And so he was like, well, I'll come and I'll talk with you. So he shows up and he's like, yeah, it's this much to get your car out and we only take cash at night. Are you kidding me? It was something like $4,000 to get it out. Because of the night fee. And it had to be cash. Most ATMs don't even allow you to pull out that much money. And so, like, I argued with the guy because I was pissed. I was like, are you fucking joking? And so he messed with his computer and then he got it down to 400. And I was like, you're full of shit. You were trying to take this money for yourself. You think I'm fucking stupid? Like, I was livid. But we still needed $400. And again, I'm a college student. I, like, work a ton. Like, it was too much money. Like, and on top of it, like, I don't carry cash. So, like, where am I supposed to get $400? And so we have to go to an ATM. You know, so that was the other thing is like, immediately, I'm terrified of being in a car. Obviously. It's the middle of the night. It's like, you know, it's actually the next morning already because it's like 1 a.m. I was like 21. 21 or 22, I think. So I'm terrified of being in a car. My boyfriend at the time, my husband now, was driving me around to try to find a fucking ATM that was open so that we could, get $400 to get my car out, because that's the other thing is he was like, I can't let you just take items out of the car because you already came and took items out of the car. And I was like, they came and picked up a live animal. Excuse me, what is wrong with you? Like, how could you, like, be so dumb? They were like, it still counts as an object that you picked up and we allow you to pick up one set of vehicles. You can't come back and forth. And I was like, you guys are pieces of shit. Like, you're a joke. I don't know. It was stupid. And then, like, I'm trying to try to figure out how to get my car back home. And they're like, well, you have to pick it up now. Like, you either pay the $400 for the car or you get nothing. And I'm like, my final, because that's the other thing is it wasn't even like a test. It was like a final, I believe. So that's why it was a really important test. And I think it was for a class that, like, I had a lot of problems in, so I needed to do well. Yeah, people are really blinded by money. And it's stupid, too, because I was like, all I want is, like, one school book out of my car. You can fucking, like, I don't know, you can rob me for whatever's in the car, but I just want that one school book. Because it's an open book test, and I need the book. And so we finally get the money together. We pay for the car. And then the guy, he's like, well, you can't leave it here now. You have to take it. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, like, he didn't say it until after we had taken the car. So now he was like, okay, by the way, you can't leave it in our parking lot or anything because we'll tow it again. And I'm like, this is a fucking scam. This is a fucking scam. So, yeah, true. At that point, I feel like if I had told my story to, like, a bookstore, they probably would have just cried with me and been like, please take everything. But the problem was, it's a book that I could only find online. Otherwise, I would have just gone to a bookstore and bought it the next day. But it was like a weird programming book. So it's hard to find. Yeah, I know. It was like all of the stars aligned to just give me a big fucking middle finger up the ass, as a thank you for my life. It was like, you have not experienced enough unhappiness. Let me give you a day. But so we paid to get the car out, and like the car was really, really fucked up, but all four wheels worked. And so the guy was like, it's considered drivable. Even though the damage was something like, I think the damage was like $16,000 worth of damage, and the car was like a $14,000 car, um, which doesn't make sense. Why they wouldn't consider it like um what is that word called? They consider it um yeah, all of this happened in Massachusetts. Um and so now I have this car and I can't get it home, and I had no choice but to drive the car home. We went the back roads, and it took us almost 4 hours to get home because I could not go any faster than like 10 miles. And I was so upset the whole time. Um, I remember crying the whole drive. I remember getting home and feeling like I was gonna vomit because I was just so like dehydrated and dead inside. And then I didn't even go to bed at that time. You know what I did? I did the responsible adult thing, and I contacted my insurance and I provided them everything. I gave them pictures of the vehicle, I gave them pictures of the other vehicle, I gave them the accident report from the police officer, I gave them the hospital report, I wrote down a whole statement thing. Like, I spent like another fucking hour filling out all of this paperwork for them and giving it to the insurance company. And so the insurance company basically had said that they hadn't received the accident report yet from the other party. And I was like, okay, they're probably like, sleeping on it. It's whatever. But I had their license plate, I had the kid's name, I knew who it was registered to, like I had all of the information that I needed for my part. And then like I took Google Images, not Google Images, Google Maps pictures of like where the accident was, and I like drew it out to show them like what happened. Yeah, every time I mention somebody new, it's like, all right, how are they gonna fuck me over this time? Yeah, basically. So I submitted that and I finally went to sleep. And I slept maybe like 4-ish hours or so before I had to go to class. And then the thing is my class was an hour away from where I lived in New Hampshire, and I had driven it 100 billion times. But I remember being so terrified. And I've never not been terrified after that accident, getting behind the wheel. Never once. Whenever I drive, I'm terrified. Whenever I drive, I'm so tense that if I do any sort of long drive, I end up with just like really, really bad muscle pain afterwards. But either way, so we had basically borrowed one of my husband's parents' cars so that he could drive to work and I could drive to school in his car. Or in his parents' car, because his car was a stick shift and I don't know how to drive a stick shift because I'm lame. And so I go to class and everything. I passed my final. I like didn't mention it to anyone because like I couldn't say the words. And so every day I would contact the insurance to see where we stood. And during that time I was also going to the doctors pretty much nonstop. Yeah, it was weird. My husband was the only one who was like supportive, but he also was kind of like still didn't really understand, but I can't blame him. So my husband drove race cars growing up, and so he's been in a lot of accidents. And so I think he related it to that, but I don't think he's ever experienced an accident in the same way that I have. So I feel like it's a slightly different experience. Let me drink some water. Sorry, one second. Almost everyone uses automatic in America. Tim, do you drive stick? I don't want to get too in depth into the rest of it and make V miss it. I know Jesse's story time is the best time, so. I feel bad because all my stories are like awful. One day I'll tell you guys like a really great story. I don't know if I've told most of you the stories about like how me and my husband got together. I can do that one later one day. Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's because your guys' cars are not shit. I feel like the US has this thing where they have vehicles break down on purpose so that they can sell you more parts and charge you to get it fixed. Okay, yeah, one of these streams coming up, maybe on Saturday I'll tell a story about how me and my husband met, because that's a pretty funny one. Okay, back to car story. V will join back at some point soon, I'm sure. So, I was seeing doctors throughout this whole thing. I had finally gotten an X-ray, and they found that nothing was broken, but that what had happened was it took them a while to figure it out because they could see that there was something wrong. My muscles were all messed up and didn't sit right, and they didn't understand why. But they didn't know what was going on to make it like that. So, basically, it took, I think it was something like 3 months for them to confirm the diagnosis. And I can't remember what they called it, but basically the muscles had been pulled away from my spine. So they weren't properly like seated where they should be. And they were all like torn and fucked up. It's hard to explain. But they basically said that they thought that I would always have some pain. And it's been so long that I don't remember like the exact diagnosis or anything. But it was awful. I just remember like feeling so much pain. I had to do physical therapy for my shoulder and my neck, because my shoulder was also really messed up. They said that they don't see that sort of pain a lot, but that it just kind of sometimes happens, and that they don't really have like a good name for it. So they kind of stuck it under whiplash as the diagnosis initially. But I think that I believe they changed it to something else later on, but I don't remember what they said it was afterwards. But yeah, so they basically said that I had really, really severe whiplash that was like the tissue and muscles were all fucked up. And then my spine was the real problem. My back was really messed up. So oh, that scared me. I was looking away for a second. But yeah, so I ended up doing physical therapy for like, I don't know, literally months. I think it ended up being like 5 months. Um, I'm trying to look up the name of it, what it's called that they. It was some sort of like. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. I like want to say the name because it took so long to figure out what it was that like I want people to know. Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting so close to 100. One more follower. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, and I can't find it. Um, it literally has never healed, so I still have chronic pain from it. And I don't know if it's like part of the reason it hasn't healed is because of my autoimmune disease, like hating my body, or if it's like just that the injury was too bad, or what. But it's left me with chronic pain. Um, so some days I wake up and I feel like my whole back is just gonna kill me, and I can't like move very much. I can't lift anything. I can't bend down. I can't like really do anything except lay down. Um, the the psychological effects were pretty intense too. Um, I stopped going out at all. Um, I was so terrified all the time. Um, I felt like if I went outside, I was just gonna get hurt. Um, so like when I would go to and from doctor's appointments, it would lead me to have really, really severe panic attacks. And then I started having really severe flashbacks. Um, and it it became so difficult that I was worried that I wouldn't be able to keep doing school. Um, it's gotten a lot better, but it's not gone. I think that's one of the hard things too with PTSD. Like I feel like for me, it's never gonna go away. Like it'll always be there. It just is a question of how often it'll like almost flare up as an example. Um, yeah, I think it led to me just being really afraid of people. Because maybe it was 2 weeks or so after the accident, the insurance company finally got in contact with the other party, and they tried to submit their claim. My insurance company, I had already given them all the information, like I said, the night of the accident. And like I remember it very clearly. It was freaking April 4th. 2013. I don't remember exactly the year, but I remember it's April 4th because every year, or April 14th, because every year when I look at the calendar and see April 14th, I don't know, just feel almost traumatized. I just saw my husband drive away, but he's got his like emergency lights on. I wonder if he's testing something or something. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, trust is whack. But like I cannot be in a car when my father's driving. I have such a severe panic attack that I can't breathe, and I start having really severe flashbacks, and I just almost like shut down again. I don't like having other people in the car when I'm driving. Oops, I clicked this open on accident. Okay. I don't know what button I pressed, but it done opened a thing. And oh yeah, I had tons of issues with my social life. Not only was it trust issues, but I had a lot of issues where the people that I knew at the time didn't really understand how intensely the accident had affected me. It felt like they thought I was exaggerating. And that feeling is really hard. And I don't know if they actually felt like I was exaggerating or if that's just like my subconscious fear, but it definitely didn't felt like they understood how traumatized it was, how much traumatizing it was, how deeply it affected my life. It got to the point where like I tried to just make believe it wasn't a thing. And I thought that if I could just make believe it didn't happen, that it would fix it, which didn't fucking help. Obviously, that's stupid. But I was scared. I was scared of like losing my friends. I stopped hanging out with people. I stopped doing things that I used to do. Um, yeah, the Discord's been really helpful. I think that for a long time it made me just not really want to let people in, because that was another thing, is like I had told people that I thought that something was wrong with me afterwards. And I had been told, no, that's normal, everyone has that after an accident. But I really don't think they knew how severe it was, how like completely closed in I felt. My depression became so much worse. And like the hardest part too is, so prior to my accident, I had moved to a new state away from my family. I had started going to college. I was living all on my own. I was doing the best that I could. Sorry, hiccups. And like it was a difficult change, and I was like very proud of myself for working very hard. And on top of that, I had also been working really hard to lose weight. And I had lost quite a bit of weight, and I was feeling really good about myself. After the accident, because of the severity of the pain, I basically lost a lot of mobility. I was unable to do what I had previously been doing to lose weight. I was unable to get up and go for long walks with my dogs because I was terrified that not only was somebody going to hit me with a car or something, that like something terrible would happen. I couldn't go on walks with them because if they pulled the leash at all, I couldn't hold it. The pain was just too bad that I would just let go. My hands couldn't like hold on to things. And so I ended up gaining a lot of weight compared to how I had been previously after I had lost all the weight. And then it got to the point where I was over the amount that I was at my highest. And it was embarrassing. I suddenly felt like an ugly, different person than who I was. It was like I was the fake. Like I was just wearing my skin, and that it wasn't really me. And that I had no control over my life, and that everyone would think I was disgusting. And that's never gone away. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say like I'm perfect now. No. I tried for a very long time to lose weight, to try to be a skinnier person who I thought I should be, and I still to this day try really hard. I 2 years ago, I found out that I have an autoimmune disease that makes it even harder for me to lose weight. And so, to some degree, that accident makes me feel like I lost myself. Like the version of me prior to that accident died in the accident. Which is weird to explain because like that sounds dumb, but you know what I mean. It's like it's almost like that feeling sometimes people get when they grow up and they get out of like a certain grade in school, that they're like the young version of me has died and I've become an adult now. It was kind of like that. But what had happened is like the happy active version of me had died. And so I felt like everything was falling apart. My relationship started to have some issues. Um, I started to have some issues with my relationships in school. I started to just have like this complete fear that everyone hated me, that everyone was judging me, and that I was much, much stupider than everyone else. Um, and just kind of, along those lines of that self-deprecation bullshit. And even now, I don't think I've ever grown into that person. You know, I haven't gotten used to that who I am now. I still look in the mirror and feel almost like I'm looking at someone else or like a fake, um, which is really, really hard. And I think that really affects the PTSD too. Yeah, it was it was literally like everything just went terrible. And then to try to continue going to college, to try to continue working 3 jobs, to try to just continue moving forward afterwards. It just became so difficult that I had to quit 2 of my jobs. And then I finally decided on a third job, and I was working for a programming company with my husband. And the company lost a client because they were assholes to people. And they decided that they couldn't afford to keep one of the employees. And since I was the one who had joined the most recently, they would be laying me off. And so then I had no job. And it felt like things just kept going downhill from there. Because after that, like, it got to the point where I couldn't find a job. Because, like, as a person going into the workforce out of college, I had no confidence. So I would go to these job interviews for a programming job, and I would just clam up. I would start having a PTSD episode. I would start getting really panicked. I would start like getting really scared that something terrible was going to happen. Just like this doomsday thinking, I guess you could say. And like then I would bomb the interview, just absolutely bomb it. My brain wouldn't be able to think about anything except fear. And I couldn't find a job. Nobody wants to hire a person who can't answer any of their questions because they're too scared. And so it got to the point where like we couldn't afford to live in the house we were living in anymore. This accident affected my life so deeply in such a fucking wide scale way that I had never expected would ever happen. And I remember when things started to go wrong, I had decided that I wanted to do something about it. And I think I had vaguely started talking about it before, but when the kid finally reported to his insurance of what had happened, do you know what he told them what happened? He told them that I slammed on my brakes because I was driving with a hedgehog in my lap and I got distracted. He had the balls to try to blame it on me when he had ruined my life. Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when the insurance company told me that I literally just burst into tears because I've never been a person who can't admit fault. If I mess something up, I'm very, very welcome to admitting it. I think it's important that you admit your faults and you fix them. And hearing this person try to blame it on me when they were completely fine, their parents didn't even know they had had an accident until he reported it. And the only reason he reported it to the insurance was because his parents found out. Because they got a call from the tow company that the car had been taken to, asking if they were ever going to fucking pay for it, or if they were just going to sell the car, or if they could just sell the car. His parents had no idea. No clue. Oblivious. He just never told them. And so when he did tell them, they were like, "Oh, report the accident and we'll just not pick up the car. We'll just sell it to the tow company." So they never even saw the damage. They didn't know the severity of the accident. They didn't know anything about me. They didn't know that I was suffering. That like every day of my life after that accident was worse than the last. Like they didn't know how difficult it was to do physical therapy. They didn't know how painful it was. Yeah, I feel bad because like it's in the past and things have changed. I don't necessarily feel the same way I did then. But at the time it was very upsetting. So don't feel like you guys have to apologize or feel bad for me or anything. Like the past is the past and there's nothing that we can change about it. All I can do is look at the future and focus on that. But at the time, I was really upset. Obviously. It had already been 2 weeks of just being in agony, constantly taking pain medication because the pain was too bad. Do you guys know what a cortisone shot is? So, cortisone shots are really painful. They're like these big, thick needles. Imagine getting 4 cortisone shots into your spine. I think it was like every 3 to 4 weeks. Imagine it not helping at all. So you get this giant, big, super painful shot directly into your spine. You can feel it. You can feel the needle. And it doesn't do anything. You know, like that's the stuff that like at one point I thought about writing a letter to the kid because I thought he should understand how deeply he affected my life. But I couldn't bring myself to do it because I didn't want to put that guilt on someone. You know? Like, yeah, he did something wrong and he did something stupid. He probably has no fucking idea how big of a deal it was to me. But putting that guilt on somebody, like, I can't, you know? I can't do it. Because I can't imagine how I would handle it. Not like he did, for sure. But anyways. But so, we ended up being so low on money that we had no choice but to move in with my parents, who were living in Florida at the time. So, like, amongst all this happening, like, I graduated from college and I had to move to Florida because I had no money left to live with my parents in a 1-bedroom with me and my boyfriend at the time. He proposed to me right before we left on my birthday. So by then we were engaged, but you know. but it led to a lot of difficulties. Like, that was a super hard year for us when the accident happened, and then we had a super hard year when we had to move to Florida, because Florida's not a great place to live. And living in a single room with 2 people and 3 dogs in my parents' house is not great. I have a father who is very emotionally and verbally abusive. And nobody wants to be around that, you know? So it's like, we had no choice, but it was shitty. And we were using it as a jumping ground because we knew my parents were going to be moving soon, and we wanted to piggyback on their move to a different state and start over fresh, which we did do. But anyways, back to I'm gonna bounce around in this story a lot. Sorry guys, it's just how I tell stories. I'm terrible. So after I heard the kid had said that, I was like, I can't not do something. Like, it's unfair, and I'm angry. And it was all because I was angry. It's true that I was in pain, and it's true that my medical bills were insane. Like, literally, my medical bills ended up totaling something like fucking $100,000 something dollars. I could have bought a house with my medical bills. And, yeah, it was crazy. And, like, luckily, his insurance did cover them for the most part. There was still a lot that I had to pay out of pocket. I think I ended up... So they wouldn't declare the car as totaled. So we had to get the car fixed, which we had to pay a deductible on that. So to fix the car, it was $15,000, $16,000 or so dollars, which, like I said earlier, it was a $14,000 car, so it just seems stupid. And then as far as the medical bills, it was a similar thing. I had to pay quite a large deductible. That was, I think maybe like $7,000 or something. And then they covered the rest. So like it still ended up costing me a fortune. And I was a poor college student. And I did nothing wrong. So it was so unfair. I was like screwed over. I couldn't afford anything. I couldn't get a good job because I was in so much pain that I couldn't lift anything. And I couldn't do a programming job because I was doing so poorly on the interviews because my brain just would shut down. And so, like, I was trapped. I was trapped in this loop of just having bills, being unable to pay bills, having more bills, being unable to pay bills because I have medical problems, just fucking looping. And it was so frustrating. And so, my husband, or my boyfriend at the time, had suggested taking legal action. So, in the United States, if somebody is insured, when you take legal action against them for an accident, you're not taking legal action against them as a person. You are taking a legal action against their insurance company for covering them. So it wasn't really what I wanted. Like, I will admit, I wanted him to suffer. I wanted that person to feel pain because I felt pain, and I couldn't really like go over and like punch him. So I had to figure out some other option. So I talked to our lawyer and everything, and we did decide to pursue legal action. But it took 4 years for us to get anywhere. And then at the end, when we finally got somewhere, it was a compromise because my lawyer basically told me he wouldn't keep up the case anymore. Not because he thought that I didn't deserve the stuff or anything like that, but because he was going to be retiring soon. and it was dumb. Yeah, 4 years. And then I got maybe 1/3 of what I was looking for. Maybe 1/4. I can't remember completely, like, the original amount. And like, honestly, I feel like I should have done more to force it, but I've never been Karen enough. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been able to be like, no, you have to do what I say because I'm paying you. Like, I can't do it. I feel like I'm much more likely to just be like, okay, I guess that's fine, even if I don't like the thing, you know? And so I think I let like a bunch of stuff pass that I really shouldn't have, that I really should have fought harder for. Um, and it's true that I did get a small settlement, but it wasn't enough to even cover the copays or the deductible amounts. So it just felt pointless. It was a waste of 4 years, um, which is disappointing. But yeah, it really changed my life, and it got to a point, like I said, that I was having so much trouble going out and like interacting with people. I was having trouble driving. I would have these moments where I would get in the car to drive and I would immediately start having flashbacks. Anytime I heard loud metal sounds, let's say somebody drops a metal cup, flashbacks, can't function. Takes an hour to 2 hours to like recover from it. Because it puts you in like a confused state. Um, yeah, I still sometimes think about writing the letter and like explaining, but I honestly don't think it would make me feel better. I think it'll make me feel guilty for making him feel guilty, which just sounds so dumb, I know, but I think that it'll just make me feel worse. And if I were to receive some kind of response, no, I can't. Yeah, like that's what I'm worried is that he'd just respond with "fuck you, I don't give a shit." Or that was this many years ago. Why are you being such a like why are you staying on that thing? But like I can't control my brain. I can't tell my brain no, don't have a flashback. It's not that simple. I can't tell my brain no, don't shut down when you are scared. That's not how it works. And I remember it getting so bad that like I couldn't do grocery shopping at all. Um, I couldn't do grocery shopping. I could barely go to doctor's appointments. I basically like locked myself away inside and wouldn't interact with other humans because I was scared and I was worried that like every little thing would put me back there. I cannot explain the experience of repeatedly re-experiencing one of the biggest traumas in your life. Um, it's really, really hard. And I think it for me it's extra difficult because like I said, I do feel like a lot of people don't consider PSD from car accidents that bad. I feel like they're like, well, you weren't in a war, you weren't shot, like you're just being a baby. And so it was really difficult to find any help for it. And I honestly didn't even seek any psychiatric help until 3 or so years ago, which was years after the accident. So, it was something that I was too afraid of. I remember my regular doctor was like, "Oh, it sounds like you have PTSD. Just take this medication to help you sleep at night." Because that was the other thing, is I started not being able to sleep. I would close my eyes and I would just not be able to sleep because I would get scared. Um, and like it was just a difficult time. And I still think about it every day. I still, when I get in my car, have a little panic attack. And about almost almost 4 years ago now, maybe 3.5 or so, I finally gave in and decided to train one of my dogs as a service dog. Um, so most of you guys know Kismet, my my black and white gray dog, the blue healer. Um, she is my service dog. Um, it was something that I didn't want to do at first because I felt that I wasn't bad enough to be somebody who needed a service dog. Like, that sounds stupid. But, like, I felt like uh, there are people out there who are blind. Like, why do I need one? Like, they need one. Which is rude also, by the way, because some visually impaired people prefer to use canes. Um, so don't just walk up to them and suggest they get a seeing eye dog. Also, seeing eye dogs is a term specifically coined by one company. So they're actually referred to as service dogs normally. But anyways, nonetheless. So I felt like I wasn't sick enough or something to have a service dog. I felt like I was taking a service dog from somebody who needed it more, which is dumb. Um, but we had found Kismet as a puppy um, a little bit before the accident happened, I would say. It was the same year. Um, and it was before the accident happened. And so Kismet grew up with me having these PTSD episodes and these panic attacks. And maybe like even from a puppy, she would recognize it really quickly. She would be able to tell when I was starting to have a flashback, and she'd come over and she'd like try to play with me, like try to get my attention. And as she got older, it just became more clear that she was obviously noticing something that like other people weren't noticing, because she could tell when I was about to have a flashback. She could tell when I was starting to have a panic attack. And she would come over and almost try to like console me to some degree. um, and I realized that like, maybe it could work. Maybe it could be a thing that makes sense for me. And I spent another like, I don't know, like maybe like another couple months after that, like just trying to figure out if it was something that was even something I wanted to do. Because again, I still kind of felt like I was stealing it from somebody who needed it more in a dumb way. And so finally we decided that it was something that we'd do. We did training for her for 2 years, and she's trained to do a whole bunch of different tasks. And so she's been going with me to work and everything for the past 3 years. And she's been great. I feel like she's given me back my freedom. She's given me the ability to like exist in the world with others. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate everything that she's done for me. Like, I know people are like, she's just a dog, but like, there's a reason that I really love dogs, and it's because Kismet saved my life. Without her, I don't know what I'd do. Okay, guys, I drank all my water. I'm gonna go refill it, so I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put the be right back screen up. Okay, I'm back. Out of breath again. So I come downstairs and Dean's there. And I'm like, I just saw a red car leave the driveway like a little bit ago. I thought you went out. He was like, I didn't go out. And I was like, whose red car was that? So I thought a package was delivered, so I ran outside to see, and there was no package. It was just sadness. So it must have just taken a wrong turn. Um, but anyways, back to story time. It's coming to a close soon. But so we trained Kismet, and like I said, Kismet saved my life. Without her, I wouldn't have kept trying. Um, she gave me a reason to get up in the mornings. She gave me a reason to do things. I had a schedule because I would take her to do training. She would go with me to work, so I had a schedule there that I would walk her at specific times, you know, and I could keep up with it. She was trained to help me leave the building if anything ever happens, because we found out that one of my triggers is alarm sounds. And so when the fire alarm goes off, instead of running for safety, I freeze. And I just sit there. And so Kismet's job is to lead me out, and to get my attention when I start having a flashback. And then she has a bunch of other stuff she's learned too, just because, you know, why not have more tasks? And I think that's part of the things that, like, I wish I could educate people more on service dogs. The definition of a service dog is very different than what I think people think it is, specifically in the United States. I don't know about other countries. So, in the United States, a service dog is any animal, or well, a service animal is any animal that is trained to do a specific task for you. And it's just worded exactly like that. And I've had people tell me that it's not worded like that. It's a constant argument. That's the only negative, is I feel like it's led me to get into a couple of uncomfortable situations where people will be like, you don't look disabled, you know, and they'll like come at me. People will yell at me for having a dog near their food when like I'm at a restaurant and Kismet's quietly under the table and nobody noticed until like a waitress was like, oh, what a beautiful dog. And then they were like, oh, near my food. Which is the dumbest bullshit. Oh no, is there a connection issue? I see it, I see the bitrate getting all messed up. You guys still there? Somebody speak to me. Did I disconnect? It looks like it's still connected. Oh, okay, so it's still good. Can you guys see it okay? Everything looks okay on screen? It's showing unstable and the bitrate's showing red, which means bad in my in my understanding of the basics of Streamlabs. I'll just keep an eye on it, but if it starts to lag or you guys can't hear me, just let me know, okay? And I'll see what I can do, or I'll pause and not continue. Okay, cool. But anyways, so there's lots of misconceptions around service animals, and I think there's also misconceptions about emotional support animals versus mental health animals and things like that. In the United States, there's no defined mental health assistance animal. There is only emotional support animal, and there's only service animal. Um, and like I said before, service animals are strictly an animal that has been trained to do a specific task to assist you with a condition or something medically related. Um, and I feel like somebody's dying over there, but I'm not gonna. Should I? Mm, maybe I'll help out. We'll see. Oh, I don't know if I can help them out. Are they doing a quest or is that like a? Are they just killing people? Well, looks like I can attack, so I'll help. I don't even see the person. Was there a person here fighting? Well, I don't know. I don't know what that was. There was no one there. I don't, I don't understand what that was. Um, an emotional support animal is an animal, it is exactly as it sounds. It's an animal that is there to provide emotional support. Originally, the use case for emotional support animals was the types of animals that you take to hospitals to visit patients and say hello, the types of animals that you take to assisted living or old folks' homes to visit older people and say hello. They are trained well, so they do not they have a much less chance of attacking or jumping, so they are trained to be gentle normally. But it's not. Originally, they didn't have anything to really do with being there as a support for a person, like individually. It was more for visiting locations as a support in that way. And it kind of morphed into an emotional support dog, which is there to emotionally support you in the sense of having an ally or to provide care or comfort to you. A really good example is emotional support dogs were brought into uh, Stoneman Douglas High School after the school shooting occurred there. They would be in classes every day with the kids, and the kids were allowed to take time to go and sit with the emotional support dogs and kind of stay with them. Can only disabled people get an animal legally recognized as a service dog or an emotional support animal? No. In the United States, the ADA regulations are very slim and indescript as far as support animals and emotional support animals, or service dogs and emotional support animals. The only thing that is stated is that service dogs that are trained to assist in a task for medical needs or medical purposes are allowed anywhere. You cannot legally bar them from a location. Emotional support animals do not have that same right. They are not allowed in every location. They are only allowed in locations that dogs are allowed in normally. And then they are only allowed in other hospital like environments or things like that with the proper permissions based on the specific location and their regulations. Now, as far as can only disabled people, no. Because of the way that the regulations are worded, it basically says as long as the dog is trained to assist in a task. It should be specifically for medical people, for people with medical conditions, but it's misused constantly. I have like a really weird relationship with emotional support animals because I approve of emotional support animals in certain scenarios. And like I was saying before, I referenced the Parkland, or not Parkland, I'm sorry. Well, I think Parkland. It was Stoneman Douglas is in whatever. Sorry, hiccups. So Stoneman Douglas High School, where the shooting was, where there was a school shooting, they used service or emotional support animals appropriately. They were there to be an emotional assistance, to be something that you could kind of help relieve your feelings through interactions of touch and hugging and things like that, because it's proven that things like hugging and petting increase like the happy drug that goes into your brain, or the happy like hormone, or I don't know what's the word for it. I don't remember. Anyways, but it helps make you feel better. So that's what emotional support dogs should be for. Service dogs really should only be for people who medically need them. And I think that's kind of the hard definition too, because medically need is a person-to-person definition. In my opinion, mental health is a medical need. However, not everyone considers it a medical need. If you look at veterans, there are a lot of veterans who have service animals, but there are also a lot of veterans who don't, because of the stigma around it being mental health related. So let's say you have a service animal because you have a seizure disorder. That's completely fine and people understand that one. But let's say you have a service animal because you have PTSD. People don't understand it. They think that's not a reasonable reason. If you break it down into basic levels, when you think of a seizure, it is a moment of inability to brain, and just generically your brain doesn't work. You can't think, you can't do things, you're unfunctional. When you think of a PTSD episode, it is the same symptoms. But one is considered a mental condition and one's considered an actual medical condition. And not everyone agrees that they are the same or that they line up in the same group. So I have had people tell me that I shouldn't have a service animal. Yeah, inability to brain. It's hard. It's hard to brain right now, so I can't think of the right words. But it's definitely a big debate. I think, personally speaking, I would prefer that the ADA regulations be a little bit more clear. But I also think that a lot of the people who have emotional support animals actually should have service animals. A lot of them have medical conditions that should be assisted with by service animals, and it could help them a lot. I literally cannot say it enough that if it weren't for Kismet, I would be dead. The medication didn't help. The other things that they didn't help. All of the medical treatments didn't help me. Kismet helped me. She helped me so much. And then, yeah, I agree with you. It shouldn't cost $1 million. We have this thing in the United States that, like, most agencies that you can get a service dog from are specific to a specific medical condition. Or they're a private company. And so, either way, you kind of run into a problem with cost. Insurance companies should cover service dogs. Honestly. The fact that they don't is absurd to me. When people talk to me about Kismet and what she does, I always try to refer to her as a medical device. Okay? She is there to help me with a medical condition. She is a medical device in a weird way. And so what does insurance pay for? Medical devices. So why not this medical device? So I don't agree with how the United States currently handles service dogs or emotional support dogs, or the insurance around them, and the functionality of training them and finding the correct dog. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like a lot of people feel the same way, Tim. And that's where emotional support animals are born out of, I think, is that feeling of like, but this is all I have. And I think that's important, and I don't think that people should ignore that. But I also feel that people have taken advantage of it. I mean, to hear that an emotional support dog has bitten somebody is really unfortunate because it gives my dog a bad name. I've had people like jump away in fear that they're like, oh no, she's gonna attack me. And Kismet's over here like staring at like me, waiting for something to happen, you know? Like she's trained to pay attention to me only. She'll sometimes make eye contact with other people to see if they're gonna walk in front of me or like interact with me. But like she's not gonna lunge at you. She's not gonna come for you. She doesn't care about you. At most, sometimes she'll lay on your feet, or if you make direct eye contact with her and call her name or make a sound, she will come to you looking for pets. And that's also a thing where I'm like, don't do that. Just don't do that. You're distracting her. If I have a sudden episode right now, like she'll miss it because she's distracted with you offering her pets and love and attention. I appreciate that everyone loves her, but you know what I mean. So as far as tasks that Kismet does, she has a bunch of them. Like I said before, she's trained to lead me out of a building in the case that like an alarm does go off. She's trained to help me find my car in the case that I am having like an episode out in public and I don't know where to go or what to do, or I'm not there, basically. So she's trained to find my car. She's trained to find the exits. She's trained to help me find a quiet place to sit down if we're not close to an exit. She is trained to alert me when I start having a panic attack and when I start freaking out. She's trained to distract me in the case that I do have a flashback episode to try to get my attention and get me to come back to reality. We've been trying to train her to grab my pills for me, but it hasn't been going well so far just because she doesn't like the feel of the pill bottle in her mouth. But we'll figure out a solution for that. But she knows so many things that it's like hard to list through all of them. I mean, when after an episode, if I've like sat down on the ground, she's trained to be basically be a stability dog, which is actually another form of service animal, is a dog that helps with people with stability problems so that I can get off of the floor and be okay. Yeah, so she can like tell when I'm starting to like drift away. And normally she'll try to like stop it and come over, and she's trained to like hit at me and like swat at me and try to get my attention so that I come back to where I'm at right now and not back then. So like she's trained to do too many tasks, really, honestly. She's just a very smart dog, so we've been adding things here and there just because, you know, why not? And she enjoys doing the work. I remember when quarantine started, like I'd get up for work in the morning and she'd go to the door ready to leave for work and was like, bitch, why are we sitting here? Why aren't you leaving? This is the time that you need to leave for work. Because that's another thing, Kismet's trained to know what time it is. So at lunchtime, she'll alert me that it's lunchtime because I get focused into things. And then I don't eat, and then it just makes it worse. I think if you ask me permission to interact with Kismet, depending on how I am feeling emotionally at that point in time, I will let you say hello. I think it's really hard to put like a specific like any time during this period because really it just depends on how I am at that point in time and if she needs to focus on me or if it's okay if she looks away for a minute or so. If we're like out at a grocery store, absolutely not. No. If we're in a mall, no, can't do it. If we're at my office where I feel a little bit more comfortable, I know everyone, I know where my seat is, and I'm at my seat, then probably it would be fine. So it's kind of like very situational for me and my preferences. But everyone's different. So I feel like if you just ask people, for the most part, they're very, you know, they normally respond okay. I think the hard part is when saying no to someone. No, I'm sorry, you can't pet her right now. She's working. A lot of people take offense to that and will get really aggressive with me. It's really weird because like she's got a vest on that says no eye contact, no speaking to me. Yeah, people are dumb. She has a special leash, so that she stands directly next to me. It like is attached to my waist, so that if I do have an episode, she can pull me places, and I don't have to hold the leash. Because when I do, my hands clamp up when I have an episode, I guess you could say. So like, you know, she's she's really smart. And yeah, people try to pet her without even asking. People will throw food at her, which is something that I find super, super inappropriate. Like, how you gonna do that? You can't just walk up and throw food at somebody's dog. Like, how do I know you didn't poison that? Like, no. And then how do you know my dog doesn't have allergies or I don't have allergies? Let's say you give my dog something with peanut butter in it and I'm allergic to nuts, and then my dog touches my hand to alert me that I'm in danger. Now I'm gonna die. Like, I know I'm being extreme in that example, but you know what I'm saying is it's like you need to it's hard to look at the possibilities, I guess you could say, of what could be. Yeah, it's always general ideas unless you know the person. Just don't really bother them. If they look like they're focused on something, leave them alone. But if it's like a friend of yours or they're just kind of hanging out, like, it may be okay if you ask, but you should never just do. Oh, I forgot these monsters are strong, going the other direction. Yeah, you would think it was general knowledge. I've had people before. This is one that gets me, like, really hard, okay? So, like I said before, I've heard of emotional support dogs biting kids and things like that, getting them right in the face. Well, it makes sense, and that sounds mean, but let me explain. I have had people tell their children, their young children, 5 years old, 6 years old, to go pet the dog. And while I'm distracted. And so they will come up and they will literally grab Kismet's face. Just grab it. Just like pull on her jowls and like grab at her ears and stuff. And like, fuck, I wouldn't want you grabbing my face. Like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, it's the parents' fault. But the thing is if Kismet were to bite a child in that situation, then it would give a bad name to service dogs, and it would inevitably be my fault, even if it weren't. The parent would say, you should have been watching your dog, to which I will argue you should have been watching your child. But there's only so much you can do. I've had kids come up and pull her tail. And Kismet's amazing. Kismet's literally the best dog I've ever had and I've ever seen and worked with. She learns really quickly. She is just like chill about stuff. And she'll put up with all of that bullshit. She will deal with all of it. I remember once this lady, Kismet was laying at my feet somewhere. I think I was like sitting waiting for a plane. And Kismet was laying on my feet, and the lady had like released her baby to like crawl around on the floor, and the baby came over and like grabbed like a handful of Kismet's like fur and skin and like pinched it. And I remember Kismet jumped up. And I always sit on the end seat so that Kismet can either sit to the side of me or she can or sit in front of me. And like we had been there for hours, so I was letting her lay down because it had been a long time. And like the kid had like completely pinched her like whole side when it grabbed her. And so Kismet jumped up and the mom like freaked out. But the thing is when the kid pinched and grabbed Kismet, you know what she fucking did? This great, amazing dog. She stood up, she walked to the side of the chair, and she sat down on the other side of me. And that's it. I don't understand why people let their kids run wild in situations, you know, like it's stupid. And somebody could have gotten seriously hurt if Kismet wasn't a really well-trained dog. So I don't know. That's one of the instances that I kind of like feel uncomfortable with emotional support dogs just because I feel like they don't go through the same amount of training. Like I said, Kismet literally did training for 2 years and we still do regular training just to make sure she hasn't forgotten anything. You know, to keep her oh, I picked up a quest that's too hard. Just to keep her on the same page and make sure she's keeping up with it well. Yeah, Kismet's the best. She just puts up with everything. And she's so great too because she knows that when she has her vest on, she's working. And the second you take the vest off, she's like, yes, it's playtime. So like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. So it's like she, you know, she's very smart. Oh fuck, I'll be right back. Sorry guys. Oh, sorry. We have a lot of ticks around because we're in the woods. And one of them must have been carried in on the dogs. Because it was just crawling across my arm. And it freaks me out. I don't like ticks. So I had to freak out and get rid of it. Yeah, ticks are the grossest freaking thing. I hate them. Okay, I'm trying to find some place that like isn't super strong that I can not die at. Yeah, ticks are just awful. But it didn't bite me, it was just crawling on me. But yesterday there was one crawling on me too. You guys will love this. Freaking panicked and I like flicked it off directly onto my keyboard, to which it crawled into my keyboard and I had to take apart my keyboard. You should still ask when interacting with a service dog that isn't wearing a vest. One of the things that I feel like a lot of people don't know, service dogs aren't actually required to wear a vest. Not at all. They also are not required to get registered, which is a thing that like people don't realize, I think. Let's see, how hard is your quest? What level are the monsters here? I don't know. I'll take it. Don't worry, I was able to get the tick out of my keyboard yesterday, so it's fine. Yeah, ticks do give Lyme disease, and a couple of other things too. There's actually ticks that have a paralysis disease they can give, but they're not as common in the United States. They're really common in Australia. But yeah, so ticks suck. Anyways. What was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, fucking Australia and their danger things. Oh yeah, vests and registration. Okay. So this is very annoying in my opinion. Service dogs are not required to wear vests at all. The reason for vests is more for the comfort of the owners of the service dogs, which I completely appreciate because there's no way to tell the difference. Like, how are you supposed to know if a dog is a service dog or not if it has no defining features? So I approve of the use, in my opinion, of vests. I think it helps make things a little bit easier for the owners to get less harassment from people. You get a lot less questions from that. There's a lot less people coming up and being like, "Is that a service dog?" when you go into a store. So that's nice, you know, to have less of that. Am I supposed to do something in this area? I don't know. And then, let's see. So, registration. Legally, the ADA does not require you register your service dog. The ADA is Americans' Disability Act. For anyone who is not aware of that. What do you call them when you put a bunch of weird letters together? Acronym, yeah. So there are a lot of companies out there online that are like, oh, register your service dog here, and we'll give you this little like paper that says it's a registered service dog, and then we'll have you in our registry, and you'll be able to take your service dog anywhere for $100, and then buy a vest from us too, and you could put a vest on any service dog, any dog. No need to provide any information or proof or anything like that. Just tell us the dog, and we'll give you the vest. So you get a lot of just random people being like, I want to take my dog into this grocery store. I'm gonna buy this service dog registration for them, and I'm gonna take them into this grocery store. Yes, my dog hates men and attacks them on sight, but I don't want to be without my dog. And like, I get it. I love all of my dogs. But there's a time and a place, man. I feel like it's hard because it's one of those things where it almost feels like contradictory. I'm like, yes, everyone should be able to have service dogs if they have a medical need for them. But at the same time, I'm like, no, people should not be able to have service dogs if they just feel like it. And I think defining that is the difficult part because, like, who am I to decide what is a medical condition? I'm no one, you know, I don't have that power. I'm just a human existing here. But I do think that people take a lot of advantage of the system, which is why I think there needs to be changes made to it. Personally, I do think there should be a registration for it. Oh, hey V, welcome back. I think that service dogs should be registered with the government. Not necessarily because I think it should be used for like tracking purposes or anything like that, but I think it'll help give a better idea of how many people need assistance, and it'll also help prevent issues with people having fake service dogs. I think it's a big problem that we need to do something about. Yeah, Kismet's the best. She is a very cute dog. But I feel like it's just kind of this like secret problem that people are ignoring. Which is, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like I can't blame them to some degree. Because, like, I get it. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like I said, you can't really tell a person, oh, well, your medical condition's not as bad as this person's, so you shouldn't have one. That's not fair. You can't decide that. But I do think that there should be some registration so that we can keep track of them. We can ensure that they're being properly trained and kept up to date on their vaccinations. And so that the insurance can properly register them and keep an eye on it and make sure that they're being paid for properly. Because like I said, I do think your insurance should cover it. but obviously it doesn't currently. Not unless you have like a very specific medical need for it, and then it only covers it in certain scenarios. A really great example is like I said before, there is what's called like a stability dog. It's normally large breeds and with for children, um, or younger people that if they have a medical condition that basically causes them to become unstable and that they'll fall down or they'll collapse or anything like that, then they can get a service dog that's a large breed dog that can assist them in not falling. Um, yeah, everything. The way that insurance works is so dumb. Because like another thing too is if you switch insurance companies and you have a what's like a called considered a pre-existing condition that like let's say you were born with a heart problem and you switch insurance companies, you'll get charged extra. And like, why? It's not like I chose to have a heart problem, bitch. I don't know. But anyways, but so I think that there should be some documentation in regards to it, but currently all of the service dog registrations out there, it's just fake. It's just companies trying to get $100 out of people who are uneducated. And yeah, it gives you a little piece of paper that says my dog's a service dog, but like I could also print that on my printer. You know, um, it makes it very difficult. Yeah, insurance just wants the money. The reason they charge you for pre-existing conditions is because they know you're going to cost more than other users or other insured people, but it's stupid. I just want everyone to be happy and healthy, you know? I feel like insurance companies are asking for too much. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic, for sure. But yeah. Any other facts you guys want to know about service dogs? I'll tell you everything that I know from my perspective, but I do suggest getting perspectives of others as well because not everyone has the same opinion, of course. So one thing that I might think is okay might be bad, or someone else might consider bad. Also, I have indeed done travel with Kismet. I know a lot of people ask, "Oh, has she been on a plane? Has she been in an elevator? Has she been on a bus?" You know, she's been in all of those places. Yeah. Little short man. No thanks. Oh, I just realized I've been streaming for 3 hours and 13 minutes. So, we'll actually probably call it there because I just realized it's 4:30 p.m. too. So I got some other stuff I gotta complete today. But I'll get that done. And I'll be back to stream again on Saturday. So if you guys do have any follow-up questions, you're free to ask me. I'm always pretty open with my responses, and I'll tell you if I don't want to respond to something. I'm not gonna be one of those people who just makes something up or just ignores you. um, I think that, you know, educating people is the best medicine. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry if my story was a little depressing, but I will tell you guys I do feel like I'm doing a lot better. The Discord has opened a lot of doors for me and made me feel more like a person again that I feel like I was missing a little bit. Yeah, Tam, I'll send you a Kismet picture. No problem, guys. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Have a good night, everyone. Bye. I love you. Bye.